1 Series is sportier to drive. You sit much lower down, so immediately you feel more confident in throwing the thing about. The steering is more heavily weighted, delivering better feedback. And because the controls and the dash are tilted towards the driver, you feel much more part of the action. And in a simple quarter-of-a-mile drag race between the pair of range-topping 2-litre diesels, the BMW also proved to be the quickest. But both, surprisingly, have similar stopping power. But if your priority for a baby prestige car is practicality, then the Merc beats the Beamer hands down. With that engine cunningly hidden under the front seats, the A-Class doesn't need a long bonnet, so it's noticeably shorter and handier to park. There's more rear legroom than the BM, and it feels far more spacious because the roofline is so much higher. And because the rear seats are removable, your A-Class can be turned into a van. At last, we have a baby Mercedes that's worth spending money on. Now, OK, it may not be as fun on the twisty stuff as the BMW 1 Series, and that's something which really floats my boat. But in a world where practicality is really important, the new A-Class is now too good to ignore.
For details on how you could win a brand new one of these, stick around. But first, to London. This Toyota Supra has been driven by 40 million people. It's got 500 horsepower and does 200 miles an hour. Mind you, these streets of London are hardly the ideal place to put a car like this to the test. However, I do know somewhere just round the corner where I can test it right to the limit, probably beyond. And the driver there, one of the best drivers in the world, for me to race against. Come on in! Come on in! Come on in! This is the no-expense-spared launch party for Gran Turismo 4, the latest incarnation of the most successful driving game in history. The Toyota Supra is one of the iconic cars from the game, and it's completed a £1 million lineup of exotic machinery, like the Ford GT, the TVR Cerberus Speed 12, the Bentley Le Mans car, and even a DeLorean. So why have the creators spent all this money and assembled all these rare cars for a computer game's launch? Well, Gran Turismo isn't just a game, it's a phenomenon. Video games are a £2 billion business in the UK, and driving games are the most popular of all. Gran Turismo has consistently outsold all others of its type, and whenever a new version is launched, it outgrosses the latest cinema blockbuster. The game's popularity is down to the man behind it, Kazunori-san, and his never-ending quest for realism. Growing up in the car-crazy city of Tokyo, he first dreamt up the game when he was just 15. Now, his work has made him a legend in Japan. There are 745 different cars to choose from in the latest game, and Kazunori has driven all of them in real life. He and his team have spent 2 years collecting data on the way each car handles in different conditions. They take photographs from every angle and even sample the engine noises. Then, all the information is programmed into the game to make the cars as lifelike as possible. But not every manufacturer is in the game. Porsche and Ferrari are two of the big names who, according to Sony, charge too much to have their exotic machinery featured. But then, they do appear on the rival Xbox game, Project Gotham Racing. Now, having driven a fair few of the cars in real life myself, I was keen to see if the handling in the game was as realistic as they claimed. I started by trying to power slide a BMW M3. Now, tight, step in second gear, get the car to apex, then hit the throttle and catch the slide. Impressively, the car reacts exactly like a real M3, although holding a slide is more difficult because you can't feel the level of grip through your bum. So what about a front-wheel drive car with its tendency to understeer, like the Civic Type R? First got to brake, get the speed down, second gear to find that apex, and then have the power, and it just understeers straight off. So, they've definitely got the handling characteristics right between rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive. The circuits have been created with similar painstaking attention to detail. They claim the 14-mile-long Nürburgring is accurate to within 15 millimetres. But how accurate is the sensation of driving down one of my favourite old haunts, the original Le Mans? And now we head down to Terre Rouge in the beginning of that Mulsanne Strait, rejoining the public road, that famous line of trees. And this is just so amazing how it brings it all back. God. It's sort of skittering at 230 miles an hour now, and the car moves across the track. Although real car perhaps wouldn't move quite as quickly as this, it does give this impression that it concentrates so much. 232 miles an hour, the keep somewhere up here, just over this crest is what wakes you up. And then through the Mulsanne. Now, I don't know how many real laps of Le Mans I've completed in my life, but this ends one more. Time for the final test of realism. Can a real racing driver beat the game's creator, Kazunori-san? I'm back in the Toyota Supra and with the Japanese Fuji Speedway. Oh, it's gone, it's gone! Time to stop talking and concentrating. He's disappeared. He had pole position, mind you, but I guess if it's his game, he's allowed to have pole position. I used to race it for real, but I can't remember my braking points anymore. Into 130R, which was almost full throttle in a real car, and it's almost full throttle. Oof, no, impossible. I was leading for 10 seconds. I think I'm probably better sticking to the real thing. Okay, let's go. Earlier, you saw Vicky decide that the new Mercedes A-Class was finally a baby Benz worth owning. Well, here's your chance to win a brand new one. We're giving away an A150 worth nearly £15,000. And to be in with the chance of winning, all you've got to do is answer this simple question. What is a common slang word for a Mercedes-Benz? Is it A, Merc, B, Beamer, or C, Lambo? Call 090 15 33 9955 to enter, or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 81555. Lines close at midday on Monday the 11th of April, and we'll remind you of those numbers at the end of the show. You can enter the competition via our website, where you'll also find details of our brand new download feature. So, here's the story. I get a phone call from a sheikh, well, one of Dubai's rulers in fact, asking me to fly 3,500 miles just to have a go in his new racing car. So, I cancelled the oboe lesson, and here I am. Come on, fella. We're talking about this, A1 Grand Prix. What I want to find out is if this is a credible alternative to Formula One. With the current investment running into hundreds of millions, the backers can't afford for it to flop. Well, actually, they probably can. It seems everyone in Dubai is filthy, stinking rich. It's roughly the size of Newcastle, and their economy is bankrolled not just by oil, but by a massive spate of new tourism, trade, and a multi-billion-pound real estate business. And if Dubai residents want something, they simply buy it. Just a decade ago, all you would have seen here is desert. But recently, the ruling elite have been making huge efforts to attract new business and tourism. Every street is lined with the world's most elaborate office blocks and giant apartment complexes. A 5-star hotel is considered slumming it. Here, the standard is 7 stars. The money no object development will continue flat out for the next 15 years. And they won't just be making skyscrapers. They're going to carve up the sea with man-made islands in the shape of a palm to provide luxury housing. When nipping out for a pint of milk will mean taking the boat to the shops. Bosch and Bex have already signed up. Even more extravagant is The World, a £1.7 billion project that will offer for sale 300 private islands in the shape of countries of the world. Rod Stewart is rumoured to have paid £25 million for Britain. But the latest piece of prime real estate that interests me the most is this, a brand new state-of-the-art Grand Prix racing track, finished recently at a cost of, well, a bisquillion pounds, of course. Like Dubai, it's still in its early days, but this has the potential to be a truly great track. At over 3 miles long, and with 15 bends modelled on some of the best circuits in the world, this is one of the most technically challenging tracks I've ever seen. But what's even more impressive is that all of this rose from the desert in just 9 months. The only thing missing to give it world-class status is a credible world championship. But as with everything else around here, someone's gone out and bought one. A1 Grand Prix is the brainchild of Sheikh Maktoum Hasha Al Maktoum, a 27-year-old billionaire who, instead of following the rest of his family into horse racing, likes to play with fast cars. And when he's not blatting around in his caterham, he's busy spending millions on this, the A1 Grand Prix car. To get the series off the ground, he's bought 50 of these Formula One lookalikes, the largest one-off order of its kind in motorsport history. Now, here's the bit which really interests me. Every car in the series will be essentially the same. There'll be no electronic driver aids, and each car will be represented by one driver from each country. So basically you have a World Cup for racing cars. England versus Germany makes for a much more exciting showdown than Schumacher versus Schumacher. Each national team will be run like a franchise, so every car will get the same 520 brake horsepower V8 engine, the same sequential gearbox, the same brakes, and even the same tyres. Of course, each national team will be able to adjust the car's general setup, but refreshingly, the real race will be between the drivers and not team budgets. And to make sure that it's not overshadowed by the likes of Formula One, the Sheikh has cannily scheduled it over the winter months, with the first one starting in September at Brands Hatch. The only thing left for me to find out was whether the cars offered Formula One-like thrills. But you can't just jump into a single-seater as powerful as this and go for a spin. On our visit, the A1 Grand Prix team were putting the car through some serious pre-season testing, and unfortunately, I had a couple of inches over their test driver. I can't get these on even any further forward because of his seat. So, whilst the mechanics debated on how to squeeze in my athletic body, I tried to get some feedback on the circuit from His Royal Highness.
Yeah, when you come back, left kick, flat spine, and the steering wheel is just unbelievably heavy.
Oh, really?
Are you gonna enjoy it?
So, well, I'm not just sat here because we've got nothing to do. The mechanics are changing the seat position of the car, because these cars are tailor-made for each driver. The pedals, the seat, the steering wheel, all the controls have basically got to change, and it's not an easy job, so that's what they're up to now. Because you need to be as tight as you can in these cars, there's not a lot of room, so it can be a fiddly job. So another 15 minutes, we'll have a go again, and I'm sure we'll get reasonably comfy for tomorrow. After a bit more tinkering with the pedals, it was time for me to get some beauty sleep in preparation for my 520 brake horsepower alarm call. Naturally, I wanted to test the car to its limits, but as this was the only test car in existence, the team was not so keen, and what's more, the owner wouldn't be too enamoured to me stuffing it into the Armco. I can tell you now that nothing focuses the mind better than a twitchy billionaire and an anxious race team watching your every move. That didn't take long to get to 150. Well, first impressions, it reminds me very much of a Formula 3000 car, which is basically one step below Formula 1. But I think this is a bit quicker. It's got a lot more downforce